Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making some pumpkin bread. If you are here and you haven't checked out the previous video, I show you all how I make a pumpkin puree from a real pumpkin. Now we're going to actually make some pumpkin bread with that pumpkin puree. It's such a perfect recipe for fall, and I'm gonna show you all a little thing that I do to make my pumpkin bread taste even better. All right, join me. Before I do anything at all, I make sure that I spray down my baking pans with Baker's Joy. It's something that I use to ensure that the contents of the pan do not stick to the pan. You can use it very liberally. You'll see how I used it. See that? And I set them to the side. So now we're going to start with our butter, sugar, then eggs. So these are softened butter. Whenever you're baking, you want to make sure you're using room temperature ingredients. And the reason why you want to do that is because you want to make sure that your ingredients are not heating up while you're cooking them. Put that on low. It's called creaming the butter. Then we're going to add some sugar to it. Make sure that's nice and creamed. See that texture is starting to change a little bit. I'll zoom in so you guys can see it. This is just small tricks of the trade when you're baking. You want to make sure that you layer your ingredients. So now our sugar is nice and creamed. And I use like a spatula to break down. Then I break my 2 eggs. Now if this was a cake, I will tell you guys, I would have broken 1 egg, mixed it, then broken the other egg and mixed it. But because this is this bread, it's okay that we didn't do it that way. But there's nothing wrong with creaming your sugar and butter that way. And you'll notice that the texture of this is really starting to change. It is nice and creamy. It's amazing. And you notice that my mixer is on low. Now on the side, we're going to start whisking our dry ingredients. Leave that there. We'll start whisking our dry ingredients together. Just take your flour and whisk it. Then you're gonna add in your baking soda, baking powder, and salt. Those are all pre-measured. I like to pre-measure while I'm baking because sometimes I get distracted and start talking to somebody, but I know that I've already measured everything correctly. Now I'm going to add my cinnamon and my cloves. Mix that all together. It's gonna look like a gingerbread almost. And again, this is just something you whisk. You don't have to do that part in the mixer. Now that it's all whisked together, we're going to add it to our batter. We're gonna add the flour. I like to add a little bit at a time, just so we can get accustomed to the amount. I don't like to overwhelm the bowl too much. Let it mix. You'll notice the consistency of the item is gonna start to change, and that's okay. All right, this has been mixing for a while. Now I'm gonna pause it and add the rest of the flour. You see this consistency is really thick. And now we're gonna add the pumpkin. It's gonna blend it all together. That's gonna give us our moisture back. Make sure that the pumpkin is incorporated throughout. To this, we are going to add half a cup of sour cream. You heard it right, half a cup of sour cream. All right, so now it's good and mixed together. We're going to put some of it in the pre-prepared bread pans, and then we'll put the rest after we add the cream cheese filling. But for now, we're just going to add them to the bread pans. Now we're going to make the cream cheese filling. I used the icing fob for my KitchenAid, but you can still use a whisk. I'm using a third less fat Philadelphia cream cheese. This cream cheese has already been pre-softened. And again, just going back to those baking tips of making sure you use ingredients that are already pre-softened so they're not spending time in the oven heating up. They should be room temp. Gonna take 1 block of cream cheese, 1/4 cup of sugar, 1 egg, and we're going to add 3 tablespoons of flour. And this is because we want to make sure the cream cheese is not too soft and it doesn't sink to the bottom of the bread. So we need something like flour to thicken it up. I had a little bit of pumpkin juice left. Remember, it had reduced down. So I'm gonna take a tablespoon of it and just drop it in there. Now it's all creamed and ready to go. Now we're going to add it to the bread pan, the already prepared bread pan, and then we'll top it off with the rest of the batter. Now we have the cream cheese, it's ready to go. So I take basically a dollop, add it. Make sure you're careful not to destroy the batter. Be really careful and soft. And then I take another dollop and add it to this one. What I love about the cream cheese filling is that it is such a nice addition to the bread. It's already really good and flavorful. Be sure not to disturb the batter too much because you don't want it to mix in. You just want it to be like a center, almost like an icing. But this is a pretty intense recipe. It's not an easy, like, quickie, but you know how it is in the fall. It's cool outside, so you want to spend your time baking and making nice little goods for your family. So now we're going to add the rest of the bread batter to the mix. So now we're going to just add it on top. Make sure you clean up the sides of the bread before you put it in the oven because you don't want that batter to cook. Be back in an hour. Now, as you can see, the bread after it cooled down was perfect. The cream cheese was appropriately in the center and my house smelled amazing. It was so moist with the cream cheese in the middle. I really think that when you guys make this recipe, you should do it just like the video showed. If you try my recipe, let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the pumpkin bread, let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to have a special surprise coming in November, so stay tuned. But we're going to continue to have more fall recipes. Thank you guys so much. Talk to you next time. Bye.